I am Jadon, Golden Dragon of the third arc of consciousness, and this is a message from the dragon. Today's message: monsters. The word monsters means so many things to so many people, but the one thing that we can all agree on is that monsters are harmful. This world of yours has been full of monsters for thousands of years. Human monsters. Monsters who lack compassion. Monsters who have no empathy. I am not speaking about dragons or beasts. I am not speaking of serpents or creatures of the jungle that would eat you. No, dear ones. I am speaking of a far more dangerous and insidious monster. I am speaking of those of your humanity who are operating in a mode of separation, a mode where they have forgotten for a time their connection with divinity, and their choices have brought them to places where they are drawn to power. Yes, dear ones, your psychopaths, your sociopaths, these mistaken beings do not operate with empathy. They do not operate with compassion. No, dear ones, they are drawn to power. They are drawn through a mistake, a false sense of separation, that they must assert themselves, that they must achieve what they want for themselves, and that somehow that they are clever enough or deceptive enough to get what they want for themselves. They are drawn like moths to the light, to positions of power. Yes, dear ones, your world has been run by monsters. Some 70% or more of the positions of power in your society have been overrun by these monsters. They seem like good people because, dear ones, psychopaths and sociopaths have learned that the way to get what they want is to play the game, so to speak, of society. They do not care very much for their fellow beings, perhaps only their own offspring or those who are very close to them. But beyond that, they just want what they want for themselves. And, dear ones, they are very clever. They are very charming. They may act like they have everyone's best interests in mind. They may say things that make you believe that they are doing things for the greater good, for the good of all. However, all the while, these psychopaths and sociopaths are simply amassing power, amassing the ability to do what they wish, amassing great sums of money that were not earned but were gathered up through cleverness and deception. Dear ones, when your world is run by such monsters, what is the first thing they will do? They will separate you from your sources of wisdom, from your connection to the divine, from your guides, your angels. They will make everyone believe that these are not real, that they are just fairy tales, that dragons are not real, etc. Yes, dear ones, they will begin to weave a story that humans are essentially monkeys that have just sort of grown brains. Essentially, we are just primitive beings here that are just slowly evolving into more refined beings. Yes, dear ones, they will make you as little as they possibly can. Because when you feel little, when you are disconnected with your divinity, You do not stand in their way, and in fact you may aid them in amassing even more wealth for themselves, even more power for themselves. Yes, dear ones, these monsters have gotten rid of all of the greatest things that humanity has to offer to the best of their ability. But all they can do, dear ones, is temporarily throw a wet blanket over your light. They have never actually put your light out. They have never had even one bit of influence on your actual presence as a divine being. They have only for a time deceived the world into thinking that humanity is so very animalistic and small. Well, dear ones, the time of monsters is coming to an end. If you look outside at your world, you will see it is changing. Yes, dear ones, the monsters are losing their positions of power. How? Light is being shone upon them and revealing their true nature. Yes, dear ones, the light of truth is always the antidote to deception. Shine more light on what is occurring, and the monsters are revealed. And the more this happens, the more they reveal themselves. In their desperate attempts to maintain their power, their control, they will reveal more and more of their own true nature. Yes, dear ones. And the outside world is a reflection of what is happening within. This is not to say that we are all monsters within and we are seeing that in the world because of our own darkness. No, dear ones, this is to say that we have given away our power. We have given away our divinity, at least our perception of being children of the divine light, the infinite one. Dear ones, you and I and all other beings on this world are bathing in more and more light. And as we do so, more and more truth is coming out. And as the truth comes out, it is truly setting us all free. The monsters are being seen for who they are and what they are. Indeed, even those operating as monsters, beneath all of that darkness, there is a spark of the divine that has never faded within them. They can be redeemed, yes. It may be a long path for some of them, the path of redemption. However, let us begin to forgive where we can. And where can we forgive? We can forgive those who have taken a look at who they truly are, and have really seen the damage they have done or the mistakes they have made, and are truthfully sorry for what they have done. They realize deeply the mistakes that they made. The biggest and most drastic mistake of which was separation from the divine. For those who feel separated from the divine move very rapidly into survival, and then the choices they make bring about even more suffering and sense of separation until they are desperate for power, they are desperate for wealth, they are hoarding and amassing what they can. They are tricking people, they are stealing, they are doing whatever they can to gain more power. For they know without that divine spark, they are nothing. Dear ones, as light shines in to reveal these monsters, the truth is coming out, and there is a bit of chaos in the world as this happens. Do not get swept up in this, dear ones. Do not fret or fear or see darkness in humanity as the truth of humanity, for it is not. The truth of humanity is beauty and light and grace and creativity Great creativity. Love. So, as these monsters are being revealed, whole systems on your world are falling away and crumbling. The systems these monsters maintained to keep their power, to keep their position of advantage over the rest of humanity. Dear ones, as we move into this new golden age, which has indeed begun, we must clean up the mess of the dark ages, and part of that cleanup is in healing these monsters, if possible. And for those who cannot be healed, at least removing them from positions where they can do any more damage. And, dear ones, as we move forward into this golden age, the new systems that are being built upon transparency, integrity, truth, love, compassion. These systems will be led by those who have deep empathy, deep compassion, love for humanity, love for this world, for this your Gaia. This will be the hallmark of a leader in this new golden age. And, dear ones, each of you will become expert at feeling in to your own hearts as to whether or not a person is truly a leader in this golden age. Your powers of detecting bullshit, as it were, are great and getting better all the time. Your BS detector, yes, dear ones, your heart is becoming more and more sensitive to truth, more and more able to detect deception, more and more able to guide you into a greater and grander golden age. No longer will stories, old stories, be the things you listen to. Old stories of lack, old stories of religious doctrines that make one afraid. No more running from the devil, so to speak, because we are firmly in the arms of the divine. Yes, dear ones, this golden age is divinely inspired. The seeds of this age have been planted long ago and are finally coming to bear beautiful fruits upon this land. Do not be afraid of the monsters. Do not judge the monsters. Simply look at what is happening. See the truth of what they have done. And if any of you, dear ones, have done anything you are ashamed of, now is an extremely good time to shine light on it yourself, to resolve anything that you may carry within you, yourself, that needs to be brought to light. If you need to apologize to anyone, first look at the mistakes you made, truly feel them, truly get the lessons from those mistakes, and then apologize. And your world will be transformed. Your steps will be even more surely guided on the path of this your golden age. This is a time to drop our darkness collectively. Each and every one of us individually must do the remainder of our shadow work. And what is shadow work? It is simply looking at what darkness is within us and releasing it. The rest of this shadow work should be quite easy from this standpoint. For any light worker listening to this has already done lifetimes of shadow work. You don't operate at this level without getting a little dirty. However, you have come into this reality to bring more and more into the light. And dear ones, it has worked. We are stepping onto this beautiful golden path. Yes, dear ones, The golden age is here, thanks to you. Do not look for any monsters under the bed. Simply shine more light, and they will be revealed, and they will have an opportunity to heal. It is as simple as that. Rejoice in the new systems that are being created, systems of abundance, systems of grand fairness, systems that are made for the good of all. Yes, dear ones, the days of lack are behind us, and the days of abundance and love and compassion and joyful creativity, they are here now. I am Jadon Say, in love with the shadow work you have done, the monsters that you have revealed, without and within yourself. And, dear ones, I am in love with this new golden age, where your creativity will blossom